Call to order the February 20th meeting of the Brentwood Board of Aldermen. If you would all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Present.
Alderman Leahy.
Here.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Here.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Here.
Alderman Plufka.
Here.
Alderwoman Sims.
Here.
Alderman Waggy.
Here.
Mayor Thornton.
Here. I believe we have a quorum. Item number 3 on tonight's agenda is the approval of this evening's agenda. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? Alderman Dimmitt.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to add under item 20, closed meeting pursuant to, it's a personnel matter pursuant to RSMO 610.021.3.
Second, Your Honor.
It's been moved and seconded to amend the agenda to include under item 20, closed meeting pursuant to 610.21.3, which would be employment. 3, and adjourn therefrom?
Yes.
And adjourn therefrom. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to amend the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Fantastic. The agenda will be so amended. Any other amendments to tonight's agenda?
Yes,
Please.
um,
Alderman O'Neill.
yes, can we add under new business, it'd be 18B, the Brentwood Forest Sewer Lateral Assessment Tax Roll.
Under new business, the Brentwood Forest Sewer Lateral Tax Roll. So that would be under 18C? 18B. Having trouble finding the right sheet.
B.
18B, sorry, thank you. All right, that's a motion.
Second, Your Honor.
It's been moved and seconded to add item 18B under new business, the Brentwood Forest Sewer Lateral. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Very good. Motion. The agenda will be so amended. Any further amendments to the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, any opposed? Very good. We have an agenda for this evening. Hold on, I need to finish amending item 18B or we won't get there. All right, very good. Item number 4 on this evening's agenda, we have no less than 5 previous meetings minutes to approve. I'm going to take them seriatim, but I'm just going to call them out, and I'm going to assume, unless one of you speaks, that they're good by acclamation, okay? So I'm going to ask for any objection to approval by acclamation for each of these, all right? So, January 16th of 2018, is there any objection to approval by acclamation? Seeing none, they'll be so approved. February 5th, 2018, is there any objection to approval by acclamation? Seeing none, they'll be so approved. June 5th of 2017, addendum, is there any objection to approval by acclamation? They'll be so approved. October 2nd, 2017, the addendum, is there any objection to approval by acclamation? They will be so approved. October 16th of 2017, the addendum. Is there any objection to approval by acclamation? Seeing none, they will be so approved. See, that's how you rip out 5 agenda items in no time at all. All right, on to the fun stuff. We have a larger than normal crowd, and I'm sure it's because everybody's really interested in the business of Brentwood. Or maybe it's because we have 2 fantastic new firefighters to swear in. So with that, I'm going to let Chief Curtin get on with it.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Aldermen. Thank you very much for this opportunity tonight. First of all, I would like to echo the mayor's thoughts. This is the fun part of the job, without a doubt. It's my pleasure to introduce you to 2 fine candidates that come on board with Brentwood Fire Department. Because we have 2 tonight, I don't want to get mixed up and confused, so I'm going to do each one individually, and I'm going to start with Andrew Brinkman. And so I'd like to read you a little bit about Andrew first. Andrew Brinkman originally is from Sherman, Texas. He graduated high school in 2006 and joined the United States Army as an airborne infantryman. Andrew deployed to Afghanistan for 13 months in 2009 and 2010, and again for 10 months in 2014. He was honorably discharged from the military in 2015 after almost 9 years of service. Andrew married his wife, Crystal, while in the military, and they have 3 beautiful children, Riley, Lila, and Everett. Once Andrew decided to exit the military, he was introduced to the world of firefighting by his brother-in-law, who is a firefighter-paramedic for Clayton Fire Department, and by his father-in-law, who was also a firefighter-paramedic. Andrew received his paramedic license in 2016. He worked in the emergency room at DePaul Hospital for a year prior to coming to Brentwood. Andrew worked for the City of St. Louis Fire Department Bureau of EMS since 2017, and in December of 2017, Andrew proudly accepted the position of paramedic for Brentwood Fire Department. I'd like to call Andrew up now and have City Administrator swear him in.
Repeat after me. I, Andrew Brinkman,
I, Andrew Brinkman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully demean myself
and that I will faithfully demean myself
in the office of firefighter-paramedic,
in the office of firefighter paramedic,
for which I was appointed on the 21st day of February 2018.
for which I was appointed on the 21st day of
February 2018.
2018.
Congratulations.
I'd like to introduce Kyle Hanley from the Clayton Fire Department. Kyle is Andrew's brother-in-law, and he's going to pin Andrew's badge on. It's always an exciting part of a person's career, getting started, having a great place to work like the city of Brentwood. Okay, so moving on, I would like to introduce Tim Iavaldi. Tim comes to us, well, let me just read this. We'll do it this way. Tim Iavaldi grew up near Webster Groves, where he attended Annunciation Grade School. He was raised by his parents, John and Mary Ann, along with his sister and 3 other brothers. Tim followed his dad and brother's footsteps and graduated from St. Louis University High School in 2007. After choosing the fire service as a career, Tim obtained his EMT license and went on to graduate from the paramedic program at IHM, or Institute of Health Management. Tim was introduced to firefighting at the Mid-County Fire Protection District in Camdenton, Missouri, where he worked as a firefighter intern. Tim left that job to take a seat in the 92nd St. Louis County Fire Academy class, where he was selected to be team leader. Tim began working as a paramedic for the St. Louis Fire Department Division of EMS shortly after graduating from the St. Louis County Fire Academy. He spent the majority of his 3-year career on Medic 26, which is the busiest ambulance in the city of St. Louis. Tim proudly accepted the position of paramedic firefighter with the Brentwood Fire Department on January 6, 2018. Tim, will you come on up?
I, Tim Iavaldi,
I, Tim Iavaldi,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully demean myself
and that I will faithfully demean myself
in the office of firefighter paramedic,
in the office of firefighter paramedic,
for which I was appointed on the 21st day of February 2018.
for which I was appointed on the 21st day of February 2018. Thank you.
Tim has chosen his wife Beth to pin his badge on, so I'm going to invite Beth to come up now.
I gotta tell you, I admire the bravery of having your wife pin your badge. Yeah, that's no pressure.
Oh, we got another one. Good job. Welcome to Brentwood. Congratulations.
Mayor, Board of Aldermen, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. Gee, we lose our crowd.
It happens every time. We're going to move item number 5 on the agenda down to item number 20 so that we can play for an audience all night.
Well, we gotta be here, why can't the rest of them?
Yeah, well, they're not getting paid. All right, so we're going to skip right on down to item number 9 on the agenda because we have no proclamations, public hearings, or bids to discuss this evening. Item number 9 is the hearing of any matter of public interest upon the request of any person present. If anyone would care to step forward and address the Board of Aldermen, you'll be given 3 minutes to do so. Maybe a little longer if there's not a line. That's the best I can do, folks.
There you go.
All right, we'll let it go. There'll be another opportunity later in the meeting. I don't believe we have any unfinished business this evening, unless I'm wrong. Item number 11 on the agenda is bills to be given a first reading. Item 11A is bill number 6183. Mr. City Attorney, can we have the first reading by title only, please?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Bill number 6183, first reading, extension of lease agreement with Southern Snow, an ordinance approving a lease agreement with Raymond A. Davis and Karen S. Davis, doing business as Southern Snow, for a portion of land in Memorial Park.
All right, thank you. And Alderman Kramer, do you have a synopsis for us?
Yes, Your Honor, this is Bill number 6183, the lease agreement with Southern Snow for that concession stand in our Memorial Park. They've been renting the grassy area near their parking lot in our Memorial Park for the past 12 years for the purpose of placement of Southern Snow's trailer for their concession sales. Current lease ends on May 1st of this year. The Parks and Recreation Department has a good working relationship with the folks at Southern Snow, and the area where their trailer is located is always clean and well maintained. They've been prompt and with all of their rental payments. The only utility that is used for the trailer is electricity, which Ameren UE bills Southern Snow directly. Current lease includes a monthly rent of $150 per month from May through October, earning the city $900 per year. This was increased with the new agreement in 2014. Staff recommends keeping the monthly rental at that same $150 per month. The Public Works Committee has reviewed the agreement, all the details, and unanimously recommends it be presented to the Board of Aldermen with a positive recommendation. This is Bill number 6183.
All right, thank you. My understanding is Eric, Director Grunenfelder, is here to answer any questions that the board may have. Any questions for Director Grunenfelder about the Southern Snow lease? Alderman Plufka.
Thank you. On page 2, section 8, at the bottom it says that the insurance shall be in the amount of $2 million per person or $1 million per occurrence. Is that perhaps backwards?
It is our, the 2 million I'm
Isn't
looking
it,
at
isn't it
our,
typically the smaller number per person and the larger number per occurrence? That's just, I mean, okay. It's just a Scribner error, it's no big deal, but I just thought maybe we should,
I'll look, yes.
I think the Alderman may be correct.
yeah.
If it is, I apologize, but.
All right, no problem. I'm sure we have, 2 weeks to tidy that up. I'm sure we can get it, yeah, no problem.
That's the only question I had, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. I have one, if nobody else does. So how long is the extension?
It is it's a 3-year lease with 2 1-year options for renewal.
And a non-competition clause for any ice cream stores. I'm joking. All right, very good. Any other questions? Sounds like a very good deal for the city. Great. All right, thank you. Item number 11B is bill number 6184. Mr. City Attorney, can we have the first reading by title only, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Bill number 6184, first reading, Professional Services Agreement. An ordinance to authorize the mayor to enter into and execute a professional services agreement with Cook & Riley LLC for reviewing of citywide sales tax revenues and further authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute the contract on behalf of the city.
All right, thank you. Alderman Kramer, synopsis.
Yes, Your Honor, a little greater detail for Bill 6184 covers an ordinance authorizing our mayor to enter into an agreement and execute that professional services agreement with Cook & Riley LLC, that for reviewing citywide sales tax revenues. In 2015, the Board of Aldermen approved a confidential agreement between Cook & Riley LLC and the city for monitoring services of sales tax collections received in the Brentwood Meridian project. The project is also known as T8RPA. The agreement is for a citywide sales tax monitoring, and the Ways and Means Committee reviewed the agreement. A unanimous motion was made to be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for their consideration. All the details contained in Bill number 6184.
All right, thank you. It's my understanding Director Karen Shaw has information and is able to answer any questions the board might have regarding the agreement with Cook & Riley.
I can't answer your questions.
Yeah, I thought I saw I thought I saw a couple familiar faces in the back row. According to one of my law professors, that's not a place, it's an attitude, all right? So.
Oh, my.
Alderman Lockmill.
Karen, is this for the year 2018? Since we've done 14, 15, and 16, would it make any sense to include 17 in that?
Well, when I said 18, I meant we started January 1, but yes, we can go back and give him back through 17.
Actually, they did a little of 17 when we were discussing
Right.
the Manchester Renewal
Right.
Project.
Up until what information we had at that
Right, I
point.
think it was through either September
Right.
of 17 that they did.
Some, they did.
Okay. And then with this being citywide, this is citywide, right? All the retailers. Are we able to pull out segments of the city, certain areas, and see what the sales tax trends have been for over those years?
Would you like to, if it's okay, Mr. Cook, pick up? I just know what we can give him, what magic he can work.
I believe that we will have the, Daniel Cook of Cook & Riley, sorry. I believe that we will have the ability to look at individual retailers' taxes or groups of retailers' taxes. Once we have the electronic spreadsheet from the state of Missouri, I believe we will be able to manipulate that to answer questions that either you or the city staff would have in regard to sales taxes.
So if we wanted like a segment of the Brentwood area specifically,
Alderman Lockmiller, could you move your microphone? Yeah, there you go.
specific segments of Brentwood, we can look at the sales tax trends for those certain areas.
We could. We just have to be careful of 32057. We can't, which is a state law making the sales tax confidential. So we just have to be careful that we have enough of a group of businesses together that it doesn't highlight the taxes of an individual business.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you. Karen, Mr. Cook, thank you. All right. Moving on to item number 13, because we have no bills to be given a second reading only. Item number 13 is bills to be given a first and second reading. We have one bill tonight. It's Bill 6182. Mr. City Attorney, can we have first reading by title only, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Bill number 6182, first reading, An ordinance approving a contract for water facility relocation for the Hanley Industrial Court pedestrian improvements project, maps 1 and 2.
All right, thank you. Alderman Kramer, I'm guessing the synopsis tells a little more about this.
It does, Your Honor. Bill 6182 covers the Hanley Industrial Court Surface Transportation Project 5577, 632. Fire hydrant relocations is the topic. And the Hanley Industrial Court STP 5577, 632 pedestrian improvements project includes a proposed retaining wall and sidewalk on the northwest corner of Stroessner Drive and Hanley Industrial Court. In order to complete the construction of the proposed sidewalk per design drawings, the existing fire hydrant owned by the Missouri American Water Company must be relocated due to its conflict with the proposed 5 feet wide sidewalk on the north side of Stroessner Drive. Missouri American Water Company determined the existing fire hydrant is in its easement, and as such, corporate policy dictates that it must be compensated prior to relocation of the fire hydrant. Capital budget for the project for the fiscal year 2018 budget is $676,445. If the actual costs are below the advanced payment amount, then a refund in the appropriate amount will be issued. If the actual costs are above the advanced payment amount, then the Missouri American Water Company will issue an invoice and request payment of the additional expense. Our Public Works Committee has reviewed this issue and the request, and unanimously make a motion for first and second readings of the bill tonight, expedite the fire hydrant relocation, and maintain the project completion date. Advance payment to the Missouri American Water Company is also requested on the warrant list this evening for consideration. This is Bill 6182.
All right, thank you. Director Gummersheimer. We need to move a hydrant.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Dan on this, or is it fairly self-explanatory? Alderman Plufka.
The location it's being moved to is in Exhibit A, just adjacent to the sidewalk, I guess?
Correct. It'll be to the west of its current location before you get to that new retaining wall. That's retaining wall B. That retaining wall will look very similar to the one that they're constructing currently at, I believe it's 200 Hanley Industrial. It's across from N-Graphics, next to what used to be Hampton Envelope. So there'll be a very similar retaining wall, same block style and everything right there. And the hydrant, if left in its current location, would be in conflict with the 5 foot wide wall. So we have to move it.
Thank you. That's one question I have.
Other questions from the board? All right, thank you, Dan.
Excellent.
Mr. City Attorney, can we have the second reading by title only, please?
Yes, Mayor. Second reading of Bill Number 6182, an ordinance approving a contract for water facility relocation for the Hanley Industrial Court pedestrian improvements project, maps 1 and 2.
Bless you.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to perfect Bill 6182 into ordinance form, please.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the Board of Aldermen perfect Bill number 6182 into ordinance form. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Demmett.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims.
Yes.
Alderman Waggy.
Yes.
Bill number 6182 passes, and upon signature of the mayor, becomes ordinance 4823.
All right, thank you. Item number 14 on tonight's agenda is resolutions. We have one resolution this evening. It's Resolution 1088. Alderman Kramer, do you have a synopsis on that resolution?
I do, Your Honor. This covers our fleet tracking for global positioning system. Fleet tracking for global positioning system, say that twice. That's the way it's written. A resolution approving a service agreement with U.S. Fleet Tracking for the Global Positioning Satellite System Services. Our city's police department utilizes 14 GPS units from the U.S. fleet to track vehicle positions. These units must meet the performance agreements and requirements of the ECDC and the police department. Other municipal departments, including Public Works, Administration, Planning and Development, Fire Department, and Parks and Recreation, use 39 GPS units from the Verizon fleet to track vehicle positions. That's two different companies. The police department has utilized its GPS units since approximately March of 2016. The Verizon Fleet GPS system began operations in 2015 and expanded to include street sweeper, sanitation vehicles, Magic Bus, and fire department vehicles in 2017. Since the time of the implementation, the new GPS units from Verizon's fleet, a desire to shift all fleet GPS units to U.S. fleet was discussed to consolidate services to units which provide improved tracking and data analytics and those capabilities, as well as a better customer service support arrangement. Execution of the U.S. fleet proposal is required to proceed and schedule the transfer of GPS services from Verizon to U.S. It's requested the Board of Aldermen provide a favorable recommendation to approve the U.S. fleet proposal as contained within Resolution Number 1088.
All right, thank you. And I think Dan Gemmersheimer has more information on this one if anyone would like to ask questions. I can tell you that I may be one of the driving forces behind, or I may be one of the burrs under the saddle here. The gist of it is this: the Verizon tracking system gives data once every minute, and if you put that on a fast-moving fire truck, it looks like it's speeding in straight lines across neighborhoods and so on and so forth. The U.S. fleet tracking system goes about once every 10 seconds while the vehicle is on, and then it goes once every 30 seconds when the vehicle's off. Discussions with Verizon, their units can't do better than the once a minute. They just don't do that. So in order to get useful data from these systems, I've requested that we consolidate everything on a single vendor, is really what.
There's also a cost.
Yeah, there's an additional cost. It's simply a better system, but that's the gist of it. Any questions for Dan? Like I said, I just thought I'd let everybody know that ahead of time. So.
You've lost your concentration.
No questions? Makes sense. All right, well, fair enough. Dan, we're going to deduct the meeting from your pay then. You didn't actually have to do anything. All right, well, I entertain a motion then on the resolution.
Motion to perfect.
Adopt.
I'm sorry, that is correct. I missed that. Motion to adopt Resolution 1088.
Second?
Moved and seconded that the Board of Aldermen adopt Resolution 1088. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? It's unanimous. The Board of Aldermen has approved 1088, and Dan, we'll look forward to having those U.S. fleet units put on as soon as you can get them. All right, item number 15 on the agenda is the warrant list. My understanding is we have two warrant lists again this meeting. Alderman Dimmitt, is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. We'll take, like we did the last meeting, we will take the warrant list for the year 2017, or 2017 budget year first. I've had an opportunity to go over all these bills and the invoices with the city administrator, and I would recommend approval of the 27 budget year warrant list for the period ended February 15th, 2018, in the amount of $16,098.01.
Second, Your Honor.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Aldermen approve the 2017 warrant list in the amount of $1698.01. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Leahy,
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Yes.
Alderman Plufka,
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims,
Yes.
Alderman Weggie.
Yes.
And I'll take the
Go
sorry.
ahead, let me just go ahead and get out that on the record. So I count a unanimous approval, so the warrant list for 2017 is approved. Sorry,
No
I just want to
problem.
make sure I got that on.
And now the warrant list for period ending February 12th, 2018 for the 2018 budget year. I've had a chance to go through all these invoices as well, and I had some questions. The main one was the expenses for the CPSM. I had a chance to look at all those itemized travel expenses, as well as you will notice that the charge for the city of Clayton under municipal operating expenses for our information technology. In the past, that was over two separate line items. We're now putting that just on one line item, but it's the same amount, $16,322. So I would recommend approval of this warrant list in the amount of $364,553.22.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Aldermen approve the warrant list on the 2018 budget year in the amount of $364,553.22. Is there any discussion? Alderman Leahy.
Your Honor, I'm looking at the East Central Dispatching Center's bill. Just for clarification, according to this, we're looking at their third quarter of January 18 to March 18. Doesn't work out. I'm not sure how we got to that. Are we paying East Central in advance?
No.
Okay, so how do I have a January 18 to March 18 third quarter bill up here? The title's got to be off somewhere. I hope.
Certainly it's first quarter.
I think it's their fiscal year. They don't go January to December. I think it's July through, so that's their third.
Okay, so they're on a different calendar arrangement. Thank you. That's what I wanted to go. Now, if we're not paying them in advance, then how do I get a January, March billing?
Actually, that's January for us, but the bill that came from them, they didn't bill it till January, so we have to pay it out of 2018. We're paying for their last quarter of 17, but their bill says first quarter of 18. For us, it's our bill for the first quarter of 18, but we can't get billed till after the service, so that's why they say it's our first quarter. And if I put the last quarter of 17, the auditors are going to say, why didn't you take it out of 17? And we can't. We already did 4 last year.
But if we're going to use our quarter, January to March, and you're paying it now in February, is that not paying in advance of full service for that
We would
quarter?
have to pay in advance.
But you just said we don't pay in advance.
Well, I think if they're billing us for their third quarter, and which would be our first quarter, and it doesn't end till March, we
So
could
then that's
either
what
delay
it is.
this and bring it back to the board at the end of March, or what we've chosen to do, put it on the warrant list for this time, right now. It's only a difference of a couple of weeks. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
I'm a little confused, and I apologize for being slow on.
I don't have the
Yep.
invoices in front of me, but I thought I remembered it saying that it was for their
Third
last
quarter.
quarter of the year
So
that ended December 2017, but they billed us January 1st of 2018 for us to pay for that quarter.
Let me try to take a crack at this. So I think what I hear her saying is that the bill that arrived in January was for the last quarter of last year, services
October,
provided.
December.
The services provided during that time period, regardless of what you call it, the bill that arrived in January was for the services provided during that last quarter.
So that quarter has closed.
Correct.
So thus, the titling of what's here is not really what.
Yeah, and
But
again,
that's what was on
I
their
think what Karen's
invoice.
saying is
Okay.
that just was what came on their
Right,
invoice,
so we
because
just
for
put-
them, that
right.
may be their third quarter.
Right.
For most people, it's the fourth quarter.
Right.
For the federal
That's
government, it's the
exactly
first
right.
quarter. I mean,
That's exactly
go
right.
figure.
Thank you for the clarification.
Does that, did I get that right? Yes.
That's
Okay.
right.
Any other questions? Are we ready for a vote? Very good. Roll call, please.
Alderman Dimmitt.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims.
Yes.
Alderman Wakey.
Yes. Okay, I got unanimous approval of the warrant list for 2018, and so we will pay our bills yet again this month. Number 16 on the agenda is reports of committees and department heads, and the first up is me. So I have to start by saying I had fully intended to make an appointment of a police chief this evening. Unfortunately, I hate to disappoint everybody, but due to the fact that we need to get some employment paperwork matters and so forth cleared before we actually make the appointment, we won't be doing that this evening. My intent is to do that on March 5th, and I'll have a little bit more information for the board in the closed session at the end of the meeting on that. But again, it's just it was my intent to do that, and because of the nature of the employment agreement and all that kind of stuff, we have to stretch that out a bit further. So unfortunately, that's where we're at, but I look forward to doing that at the March 5th meeting. The second item on my report, and I guess I'll ask for a motion, is on March 19th, the Board of Aldermen meeting is scheduled for 7 o'clock. That's also the forum that has been put together for the candidates for the school board. And as many of you know, I believe that the school board is at least as important as this organization when it comes to the health of our city. And so I would very much appreciate the opportunity to go to the school board forum so I can vet the candidates. And so what I'm asking is somebody to make a motion to change the meeting time of our March 19th meeting to 5:30 in the hope that we would be done by 7 o'clock and then could proceed over to the school district building to catch the forum. I will throw in the sweetener that if we agree to meet at 5:30, I will have the city provide us some dinner. So,
So moved.
well, actually, Bola will. I can't actually spend any money myself, but Bola is allowed to make sure the city buys us dinner. So yeah.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. The board agreed to change the meeting time of the the second meeting in March on March 19th from 7 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Is there any discussion? Alderman Dimmitt.
You're confident we can knock that out in 2 hours?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
And wolf down a sandwich
Just
in
the dinner.
between. So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. Hope springs eternal. I would certainly entertain a motion at the beginning of that meeting to set a time definite, which means the meeting would end regardless. So.
Meeting must end at 6:45.
Any further?
Wait, you can make that motion?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're just.
Motion that this meeting ends at 7:05.
It's right here in this book. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of changing the meeting time to 5:30, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Very good. So there you have it, folks. By order of the Board of Aldermen, we will meet at 5:30 on March the 19th. So we'll update the city calendar accordingly and get out the news. That's the last. Well, there's two more things that I want to talk about, and it's related to the first. The school board, for those of you who don't know, the school board is planning to seek bonding authority from the citizens of Brentwood this election season. And it's a very important thing that I want to just spend a few minutes bringing everybody up to speed on. What they've decided to do is they've decided to ask for authority to issue bonds in the amount of about $16 million. And they're planning on using that money to provide some physical updates to the middle school and the high school. And the idea here is that basically they've got some debt that's set to retire this year. If they get the authority to go borrow the additional money, then they won't have to raise the current assessment. They'd be able to use the current assessment to finance the additional debt. So it would be no tax increase, right, in the sense that they'd be taking on new debt to replace the old. But I think the more important thing is that I think, they really made an excellent choice in going to the Brentwood Middle and High School. That's an area that, there was an awful lot of discussion about the grade schools and so forth, but I think that's, first of all, those are the buildings that are most in need of physical facilities. The second thing is that I think that's an area where when you spend the dollar there, you get all of the students in town that are affected, as opposed to spending it on one or the other of the grade schools. There's a bit of a, every dollar you spend on a grade school, you got to spend 50 cents here and 50 cents there. And I think over at the high school and the middle school, you get a chance to spend the whole dollar on helping everybody in town. And I think the third thing is I think that tends to be the time when we start, to the extent the population of Brentwood students or Brentwood residents drops off in the school system, that's the time when it happens, right? They go to private school for middle school and for high school. And some people do that for religious or other reasons, but I think some people do that just for, different opportunities and different facilities and things like that. And I think so to the extent that we can we need to maintain a first-class school district in the city of Brentwood. I'm absolutely convinced that that's essential for our continued success. I think that's a great place to start doing it. And I think the school board, I don't want to speak for them too much, but I think their plan is that once we get that project well underway and make, prove that we make good use of those funds and can make improvements, I think the plan is to circle back around then and then come back with a plan for the grade schools as well. And I think that's a very good plan. So, I can't stress enough how important I think the schools are to our continued success as a community. I would encourage everyone to find out as many facts as you can about this upcoming bond issue. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation floating around about it, and a great way to do that would be to come to the candidate forum on the 19th, and also to come to a informational meeting forum that's going to be held, I believe, on March 20. What's that Wednesday? March 26th. Hold on, I'm sorry. I should have had this written down.
Yes, the 27th.
Is the 20? Well. It's Tuesday, the 26th. So there's an informational forum that's just been scheduled for Tuesday, the 26th at the high school cafeteria. Myself, I will be there. Dr. Lane will be there as the superintendent. There'll be a number of other people there from the school board as well. So I think, plan to come to those things, and please, if you can find it in yourself to get behind this thing, I think it's a really good thing for the entire community, whether you have kids in the school or not. It's very, very important that we maintain a first-class school system here in Brentwood for our community, and it's every bit as, I was only half joking when I said the school board is, I think, at least as important as this group here when it comes to the welfare of our community. So I'll get off my soapbox. Hopefully everybody can get out and support the school district on that one. The last thing I want to say is we have been working on our Manchester Road project, and I know that Lisa Kirkmeyer has been working very hard with the businesses along Manchester Road to talk to them about some of the changes that are coming as a result of MoDOT coming through and making their improvements and the improvements that we want to see take place in addition to that. So there are 2 additional meetings. We had 1 meeting earlier today, and there are 2 additional meetings coming up on that topic. The next meeting is Wednesday the 21st between 2 and 5 p.m. They're going to be held at the Brentwood Rec Center, so if anybody has an interest in learning about what's going on at Manchester Road, that's a great time to do it. There's also another meeting on Thursday, February 22nd, over at the Rec Center from 4 to 8. So you will have an opportunity to learn everything you need to know about that. So if you have any interest at all, or you're just curious, I would encourage you to come to those meetings and take part, because you know how these things go. A lot of times we'll get a whole plan together and everything, and then all of a sudden somebody will go, but wait. And I said, well, we had meetings, nobody showed up. So it would be really great if people could come out and learn about it. It's a really, really, really nifty project, and I'm just excited as heck about it. I think Manchester Road's going to get a lot of help in the next few years, and I'm excited about it. So that's all I got on my report. Public safety, Alderman Plufka.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On February 28th, a week from tomorrow, we are going to meet public safety, and we're going to discuss ECDC. If you saw on the warrant list that the anniversary date of our contract with them is in March of 2014, which means we have until April 1st of 2018 to re-up our contract. And public safety is going to discuss the dispatching service, how it's gone over these last 3 years or 2.5 years, and what other options are available to us, and make a recommendation to the full board as to whether to re-up with ECDC or to work with some other service.
All right, very good. And you said that's February 28th?
It is.
February 28th at?
5:30.
5:30, right here, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so February 28th, if you're interested at all in talking about ECDC, the entire Public Safety Committee will be here to listen to you and entertain that discussion. Public Works, Alderman Lockman.
We had a good meeting last Thursday night. 2 of the items were on tonight's agenda. We discussed, or I heard an update from staff on how the sanitation department is being reorganized and how better communication with the citizens. We also had a presentation regarding capital control on purchase orders, and a new form was developed by staff, which we then forwarded on to Ways and Means for discussion. Going to continue our discussion on dumpsters supplied to Brentwood Forest and a couple other items on there, which I can't remember. But our next meeting will be March 14th at 4:30 right here.
So anybody interested in discussing dumpsters should certainly show up on March 14th.
Will that include dumpster diving?
You know, I can't speak for the chairman. I'll let him.
Is that an Olympic event?
Yeah, I can't wait to be asked to judge that one. Director of Planning and Development. Alderman Dimmitt, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The March 1st meeting is going to be rescheduled. I'm just waiting to hear back from the other committee members, what dates are available for them.
So no meeting on March 1st?
No meeting on March 1st.
TBD.
Yes.
Got it. Mr. City Attorney.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Madam City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Thornton. In your packet this evening is an update on the Manchester renewal. Our plan going forward is at the second meeting of the month, I will be presenting a summary update on the city's efforts and activities and expenditures year-to-date. We ask you, as you review this one-page document, for feedback input. We're quite flexible, so we expect that the format might change over time. But what we wanted to do is to show you the 3 different categories of expenses and how much we have expended, or how much the city has expended to date. So this particular report is from February 23rd of 17 through the end of last year, December 31st, 17. We have 3 different types of costs that are reflected in this report. The first one is investment costs that can be recovered to a large extent if the project is not completed, for example, real property. And you will notice that we have 3 bullet items. If you recall, we closed on the 371 Marshall Avenue property last December in the amount of $151,205.48. We also made the initial deposit of $5,000 on 8606 Manchester Road, which we have since closed in 2018. So the total amount that has been spent on investments through the end of December is $156,205.48. The second category of cost is the direct project cost, and these are costs that are necessary to provide additional information regarding cost or feasibility of the project, for example, design, engineering studies. And these are items that we know we have to do them unless we spend the money to do them. And this also is through the end of December. We've spent a total amount of $348,599.45. And we provide a list of what we spent them on: design for the Manchester Road Improvement Conceptual Design, design for the Flood Mitigation Alternative D final report, property appraisals, of which there are many, project branding, which is Arcturus, and the blight analysis that was done by PGAV. And you will have an opportunity to discuss that further under new business for update. And then sales tax projections that was also done by Cook and Riley, who were here earlier tonight. The last category of cost is what is described as indirect or sunk cost. And these are costs that are related to the project but do not fall into the other 2 categories above. And total expenditure through December 2017 is $220,438.39. Legal expenses, Armstrong Teasdale for property negotiations and acquisitions, and property acquisition surveys for Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental site assessment, and the project management services provided by Navigate Building Solutions. Any questions?
Any questions? Alderman Dimmitt.
So this summary is a great summary. This is all that we have spent
For
on the Manchester renewal
2017.
for 2017.
Right.
$700,000. 800? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? And I just want to thank Bola and Craig for putting this together. We've discussed this, and it was a little bit my idea, but they really brought it to life. Is what I wanted was a regular report going to this board as we start moving forward with this project, and the sums get bigger and the project gets bigger. I wanted a consistent report that can come to this board at least once a month to let you all know, kind of what we're doing, what we're spending, and then to also give you an idea of, how much of that is at risk, how much of that might be recoverable if the wheels come off, like we talked about at our workshop, et cetera. So any feedback that you have on that report, please give it to Bola, please give it to Craig. But I just want to thank them for making that happen, because I think it's going to be more valuable as we move along and the dollars get bigger and so forth. So, all right, thank you. Let's see. Madam Excise Commissioner.
No report.
Madam Library Liaison.
No report.
I don't have anything from the Municipal League this evening. Any announcements? Alderman Leahy.
I have two, Your Honor, if I may.
Sure.
The first one is the Ward 3 meeting for the month of February will be Tuesday night, the 27th of February at 7 o'clock up here in the council room for basically informal meeting with the aldermen from Ward 3 to discuss what's going on in Brentwood or what might be on the individual resident or business owner's minds. The second announcement, Your Honor, if I may, is a plug for the parish fish fry. Is that acceptable?
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Thank you. Since we have entered the season of Lent, the St. Mary Magdalene PTO, or known as the Cod Squad, has done a very marvelous job of performing and cooking fish fries for the Fridays of Lent. And according to the Archdiocesan of St. Louis, it is in one of the top 3 fish fries in the entire Archdiocesan area. It is quite well attended from 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock. I suggest that you come early, but the food is quite good. There is a drive-through through a school that helps also if you can't stay and socialize with the residents and the parishioners. But if you have time, it's well worth coming up and participating. That's at St. Mary Magdalene at 2518 Magdalene Avenue.
They open for business at 4:30 every Friday, folks. And I got to tell you, I've been to quite a few fish fries in St. Louis, and it is bar none the best in my opinion. Really, and I'm not just saying that because they're local folks. It's really great fish. It's phenomenal. In fact, my kids who don't, as a general rule, eat fish, and my son gets the baked salmon. They harangue me to take them to the fish fry on Sunday so that they can get the fish. It's that good. So.
And the proceeds are used to help fund and support the school.
Yeah, it's actually their biggest fundraiser of the year. So Father Jack told me the fish fry is really, really important. So look, it's great food, it's well priced, and it helps the community. So I don't see how you can go wrong there. Anything else? Other announcements? Alderwoman O'Neill.
Thank you. Ward 4 will meet on Tuesday, March 27th, the same time as theirs, at 6 o'clock in the Brentwood Forest Clubhouse, ending at 6:30 before the Board of Directors meeting, and everyone is welcome.
Very good. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we will move to new business. We have two items of new business. The first item of new business is a request for authorization to draft a Chapter 353 plan. And Alderman Kramer has told me that he has actually a synopsis of this, so I'll just let him go ahead with that, and then we'll talk about it.
Surely, Your Honor. They did prepare one here. This has to do with the 353 plan in connection with the Manchester Road Renewal Project to include Manchester Road enhancements, Deer Creek flood mitigation, extension of the Great Rivers Greenway connector, and assemblage and redevelopment of commercial properties acquired in connection and to complement the other project elements. The plan includes a confirmation and/or update of the existing conditions documented in the 353 qualification analysis completed by PGAV, otherwise known as Peckham, Guyton, Albers, and Viets Incorporated. back in April of 2017. Say that 10 times fast.
Not at all.
Task A, the resultant document may then be used by the Board of Aldermen to officially designate the area as a blighted area under the provisions of Chapter 353. PGAV will also undertake the preparation of the Chapter 353 Development Plan, which is Task B. That plan is to recognize the primary projects to be undertaken. Manchester Road improvements in keeping with the MoDOT program, the Great Rivers Greenway improvements, and any associated city park improvements, the flood mitigation improvements, land acquisition associated with those projects, and conceptual redevelopment projects that may evolve within the area. PGAV will also create a tax impact analysis as required by state law and state statutes. Task C, with the establishment of the plan, a tax abatement can be put in place along with the eminent domain authority at the time of passage of the Chapter 353 plan by the Board of Aldermen in the City of Brentwood. Also included, the need for PGAV planners to participate in the meetings. The task will be completed within the 90 to 120-day time frame, pending no factors beyond their control. Total cost of the task order is $40,000. Task A, $3,000. Task B, $22,000. Task C, $15,000. Staff requests a motion from the full board authorizing the city administrator to enter into and execute this task order number 3 so the PGAV may proceed, and the completion of the plan and all required notices to the public and taxing jurisdictions may be held so that the public hearing and approving ordinance may take place on May 5th, 2018. This is our new business.
All right, thank you. So let me just add a little bit to that. For those of you on the board who aren't familiar with how this works, the 353 Corporation is authorized by statute to do urban redevelopment. Many of the things that we're planning to do in the Manchester Road project could be done directly by the city without the aid of a 353. But the 353 gives us some more flexibility when it comes to doing the redevelopment portion of it. So it's been recommended, and I concur with the recommendation from our attorneys, that we go ahead and form the 353 Corporation and try to use that plan as much as possible for the entire project. So that's what we're doing. Basically, we're asking for the ability to enter into this task order, which would then allow PGAV to draw up the plans and work with the corporation to get that done. Alderman Leahy.
Your Honor, are you aware in the last 2 years that the board and yourself have never approved the membership of the 353 that's been in existence, nor has it met on a yearly basis as required as current statute for the 353 group stands?
Yes.
Do we need to do something to rectify that?
We actually have done, so a little ahead of you. So what we did was we have rehabilitated the corporation on the legal standpoint with the Secretary of State. So at the first meeting of the 353 this year, we'll simply need to, one of the first acts of the corporation will be to pass the necessary motions and whatnot to rehabilitate the corporation. But everything's in place to have that done. And I'll be honest with everybody here. I did that a little bit by design. Until we actually had a project and a plan to work on, I didn't really see the need to have a 353 corporation doing a bunch of stuff if there was nothing for them to do. So I sort of intentionally did that. I didn't want to, put us in non-compliance or anything like that, but at the same time, I didn't feel the need to waste a lot of energy on something until we had something to do. So that was a little bit by design and not entirely lazy on my part.
When will we see a membership?
So I've got some requests out to some citizens to serve as directors. There are a number of people that I think there's, you and Tom are currently board members, right?
Yes.
On the 353 Board of Directors. So according to the ordinance, I believe 4 alder people need to be directors. And then I think we have to have 5 citizens at large and 1 representative of the business, one representative who's recommended by the school board. Yes. So I've got invitations out to a number of people to serve the city in that capacity. And I have committed to our attorneys and consultants that I will have those recommendations for the board. I think I committed to doing it by the second meeting in March, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Thank you.
I may be giving myself a little extra time there, but the truth is, if the board will authorize this plan, then about the time all this stuff gets ready, we'll have the stuff for the board to do.
Does this replace the existing 353?
No, this is the existing
Addition.
353. It's just that a number of the directors' terms have expired, and I haven't reappointed anybody or reappointed them or anybody in their place.
Okay, so it's like a rehashing of the existing.
Yeah, so what happened is we got legally out of compliance. We didn't file our annual reports. And so we've done that, and all the paperwork is in place to do that. We just need to, I need to appoint the new or reappoint the old that have expired, and we need to then that board needs to call a meeting of the board of directors of the 353 and conduct the business of the corporation.
Okay, thanks.
Alderman Lockman.
Is the old 353 area specific, or is it citywide?
No, the plan will be area specific, but the 353 corporation is a corporation that's authorized to do urban redevelopment. I don't think it's geographically restricted as a corporation.
There was never, there was just discussion. But
Yeah,
there was
I think it
never a
actually got
designated
named the
area.
Manchester Redevelopment Corporation, but I think that was just,
They can be site-specific, but they don't have to be.
yeah. And I don't believe, I think Jim Mello told me that we don't have any
We do not.
restrictive language in the corporation documents at all. It doesn't matter, we're planning on doing it down there anyway, so.
Right. Well, I just didn't know because this seems to tie in the Manchester Road improvements, which extend from
Right.
border to border.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions about that? So the chair would entertain a motion to authorize the work order for PGAV to draft up the 353 plan.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the board authorize the work order as detailed in the synopsis, for lack of a better word. So does everybody understand what we're voting on? Very good. Let's have a roll call on this one, since there's money involved.
Alderman Demmett.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Yes.
Alderman Plufka.
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims.
Yes.
Alderman Waggy.
Yes.
All right, that's unanimous, so we will go ahead and authorize PGAV to do that. And like I said, I'll have appointments for the board's approval here in the next couple meetings. Item number 18B is the Brentwood Forest Condo Association tax. Alderwoman O'Neill.
All right, thank you. The board has discussed this, but had never made a formal motion to carry anything on. So I'm going to make a motion and then explain why. I move that we direct the city administrator to contact St. Louis County's collector of revenue and the assessor and direct them to remove all Brentwood Forest Condo Association properties from the sewer lateral assessment tax roll effective this year. We have discussed this here, but we have discussed it to death in Brentwood
Well,
Forest.
hold on, so
Okay.
I'm going to take that as your motion.
Okay. Is there a second? You need a second?
Well, I'd be listening for a second at this point.
Question, if I may, Your Honor.
Sure.
I'm not sure that the city has the authority to do that action. I believe,
We do.
okay, I would thought state statute limited.
But I don't want to have too much discussion on a motion that hasn't been seconded.
Okay.
So.
I'll second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Now, Alderwoman O'Neill, please, you have the floor.
All right. We have talked about it here. In Brentwood Forest, different groups have talked and tried to find every single way around. We could change this, whatever we could do. The Building and Grounds Committee, which is the one most responsible for this, has talked with the management. We have looked at maps. We have done everything we could to figure any other way around this. And this looks like the easiest way to proceed for the city and for Brentwood Forest. It deals with common ground as the problem why the city isn't doing this. I can't have bird baths or bird houses. That's on common ground. And so it really is sacrosanct. You don't deal with the common ground, and that's why this is Brentwood Forest problem. So if we do take it off the tax rolls, as we discussed, then Brentwood Forest has to deal with how they handle it. But this would take it off the tax rolls because half of us in
All right,
Brentwood
so,
Forest should not
so
be paying
just,
it.
okay, so just so we're clear, so, and I'm going to address your question so that we can deal with the substance of the motion and not the technicality. So here's the way it works. The sewer program, the sewer lateral program tax of $50 per household, right, is authorized by the ordinance that the city passed, okay? The city farms out its collection of that tax to the county, right? So the county is our tax collector of that fee, but it is a city fee. We do get to direct the county people to assess that tax or not assess that tax on, they're collecting it on our behalf. They're our agent. They're our taxing agent. So we absolutely have control. We could tell them, hey, take everybody in Brentwood off of that and don't collect $50, and they would do it because they're simply collecting the tax on our behalf. And what Alderwoman O'Neill's motion is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is to remove all of the properties in Brentwood Forest from the $50 taxing roll. So we absolutely can't, without talking about the substance of the motion, I'm just, the technical part of it is, that's absolutely correct. So discussion. Alderman Kramer.
Your Honor, I certainly admire and understand the eagerness of my co-alder person on this topic. We have discussed it, you and I have discussed this topic. I've discussed it with the staff of the Board of Managers. I do not believe that the actual members of the Board of Managers have voted on this. Because of the size and the amount of the liability that's involved here, I think it's premature only to the extent that the actual collections for 2018 won't happen for another 8 months or so. And so I would like the opportunity to visit with my co-alderperson about this, and certainly with the Board of Managers, who, once again, I don't think they've voted on this. Matter of fact, I know they haven't. So I would propose that with the board's latitude, that perhaps we could place this matter on hold. It wasn't on the agenda tonight. There was, I guess, no preliminary leading up to it. And once again, it's a large item. And I understand that there are polarizing views on this topic. Brentwood Forest is a very unique entity. I'm not sure that everyone who is up to speed on this, per Alderwoman O'Neill's comments, really understands all the issues involved. And I would like the opportunity to visit with those people who may not have heard from me on the topic before a vote is taken. Thank you.
I'm gonna try to go, so Alderwoman Sims.
I just need to be reminded why would there be interest in removing the Brentwood Forest from that role?
When we looked at the ordinance, to change our ordinances, it said that only units of 6 or fewer could be taxed. A lot of the residents in Brentwood Forest live in larger units. Then when we looked at it again, it's written that these are units that fit a description, and none of the units in Brentwood Forest do that because it says you have your own laterals. We don't have our own laterals. They are on common ground. So I don't own my lateral. It's not mine. It's Brentwood Forest. So none of the condos fit the discussion, even if they were in a smaller building. So none of them fit. So taking it off, they're paying taxes that shouldn't be paid. So we're not asking that the city go back and refund money. We're just saying we need to split and do our own thing.
I'm certain what you're saying is true, and that kind of sounds like taxation without representation. I would just need, for my own diligence, I'm a paper person. I'd like to see the ordinance again, and I'd like to see I would just like to see the analysis before I vote. So I would support Alderman Kramer's motion to table this, because I would just like to see the statute for my own edification.
Alderman Dimmitt.
I think Alderwoman Sims brings up a really good suggestion, and as maybe put this out to one of the committees, either Ways and Means or Public Works, to revisit this, because I do not remember what role the city plays with the sewer lateral policy program as it relates to Brentwood Forest.
Alderman Plufka?
To sort of echo those concerns, I guess I'm I'm just, maybe I'm confused about this, but the notion is that we would direct the city to ask the county to stop taxing those addresses within Brentwood Forest, and then is it the expectation that those addresses would still be able to avail themselves of the sewer lateral program?
Not from the city.
Well, so then how would common areas be unblocked on whose dime? And
Can I answer that? Already, most of the sewer laterals are done in Brentwood Forest. They do outsource it, but most of them have been called to the Brentwood Forest office, the condo office, and most of them through the years have been taken care of in Brentwood Forest. Dan chalked up how many had, some of them had used the hotline and had used the city, but the majority have been done by Brentwood Forest already. So
meaning
it's
that
out of
Brentwood
the
Forest pays for
Yeah,
whatever the service is?
yeah.
And that extends even to the sort of that roto-rooter type service that we talked about, there being that, not the, you know, the
I think you're
lesser
looking for
service.
his run out.
The run out, I'm sorry.
That's right.
As far as, nobody's made a distinction between the cause of it or not. They've simply said most of the things in Brentwood Forest have been picked up by the condo association.
But your expectation with this is that they would no longer be able to avail themselves of any services from the city with regard to either a run out or any other kind of...
Right, they would not call the sewer hotline, it would not be part of it.
Very good, thank you.
Alderman Leahy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate your education from the mayor and the legal side, but when we established, we, the city of Brentwood, established the lateral sewer, and we went to the county to establish the tax, the city administrator at the time reported to the Board of Aldermen that the tax had to be citywide, and that they would not let us take out individual sections. And thus, the only way that anything could come off, as we understood, was the individual homeowner had to petition the city's county assessment to get it removed. Because when we originally established, the state statute read the same, unit 6 and under, and yet we knew we had buildings in Brentwood Forest that had 6 or more units in it. But they wouldn't let us take those addresses off when we established the tax. Unless everything's changed, I'm not aware that they've changed that again.
Yes. Well, the current...
Maybe our city attorney could help us with
The
that.
current statute is found in section 249, and it does limit the ability to participate in the sewer lateral tax to units of 6 or fewer.
Which was the same at the beginning.
But, so you can have a citywide tax, you just can't apply it to any condominium buildings that are larger, that have more than 6 units per building.
Mr. Seemeyer informed this board when we established this thing that when he went to county to do that, they would not let him pick and choose addresses. That's why I was very surprised. And
There's
then,
been litigation about it, and I'm pretty sure that...
then in the litigation, but I thought that we're looking at, you had to be the property owner to make the petition.
I certainly can't speak for what
Okay.
Mr. Seemeyer did or didn't know or did or didn't do. What I can tell you is this, there's 2 things I'm sure of. One is that the county collects on our behalf.
Yes, they do.
So they will follow our instructions to the letter that we give them. What I can also tell you is, you know, it's an insurance program. So any entity who does not pay the premium is certainly not going to get the benefit. And that is, I don't know if the statute says that, but that's just insurance 101.
Well,
so,
yeah,
but anyway, that's all.
Yeah, the problem with the statute is that it would actually prohibit you from giving benefits to those people that have 6 or more.
Well, it would
because
certainly
they should-
prohibit us from collecting the premium, which would, in my opinion, be the same thing. But Alderman Kramer.
Yes, Your Honor. As you and I have both agreed, it's a complex issue.
Yes, absolutely.
And as I mentioned before, I think this, once again, I admire the idea of trying to put this to rest. However, it is premature. 1997, the voters of Brentwood went to the ballots and voted for this program, which was allowed to be put in place by way of the state statute. Those voters read the ballot language, they voted it in. I think that at the very least, we need to find out if we can undo something that the voters put in place for one part of the city. That's one aspect. The other aspect is there's an educational process that needs to take place both with the residents and the owners of Brentwood Forest condos and the Board of Managers, which is in charge of regulating the goings-on, the rules and regulations by way of their bylaws in Brentwood Forest. So without disagreeing, I can only tell you that, as some of the other esteemed alderpersons have come forward and mentioned, that there needs to be some investigation, research, and written material provided, starting from the committee level up, I think, before it comes up as a surprise motion here at the Board of Aldermen meeting. Thank you.
Well, at the risk of trying to help the board along, you've all talked about it, but nobody has made a motion to refer this to committee, which would be an appropriate motion if that's what you want to do.
That's exactly what I was just going to do, Mr. Chairman.
What's that?
That's exactly what I was just going to do. Mr.
I was going to second that, too.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
And that's precisely why I
Well,
did
yeah,
it.
but the motion to refer to committee would supersede your motion. It would make it superfluous.
Okay.
So the motion to refer to committee, yes, am I right on that? Yes. So if somebody were to make a motion to refer to committee, that would take your motion off the floor because the motion would be to take your motion to committee.
Fine,
Make sense?
yes.
It may not be exactly right, but Helmut's nodding his head, so we're going to roll with it.
Did we get my motion? My motion to refer this matter to subcommittee?
Public Works, for example?
Definitely Public Works.
Yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the board refer the matter of the Brentwood Forest Condo Association taxation to the Public Works Committee. Any
Second.
discussion on this motion?
Can I ask who seconded that?
It was Alderman Lockmiller. No, sorry, Alderman Wakey. My apologies. I'm not used to seeing him here.
I'm here. In spirit.
I'm just teasing. Any discussion on this motion? All right, all in favor of the motion to refer this matter to the Public Works Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, so that will kill your motion. That will take this and put it off to the Public Works Committee, where I'm sure it will be discussed in great detail.
I was going to say, Steve, now you have attendance for your committee.
No, I will, I bet.
Better provide dinner.
You like donuts.
Alderwoman O'Neill wants dinner if you're going to take it up at her. Okay. Item number 19 on the agenda, we have the hearing of any matter of public interest upon the request of any person present. Would anyone in the audience care to come forward and address the Board of Aldermen? You'll have about 3 minutes, give or take. And seeing none. Item number 20 is a closed meeting. I would entertain a motion to enter into the closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to close the meeting for employment matter pursuant to RSMO 610.021.3.
Second.
And moved and adjourned. And it's moved and seconded that the board enter into closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.21.3 employment and adjourned therefrom. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Demmett?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderwoman O'Neill?
Yes.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sims?
Yes.
Alderman Waggy?
Yes.
Where would you like us?
Upstairs, please, folks. And if you hurry up there, I promise I'll have you out of here by
7:30?
not 7:30, probably 7:40, huh?
8:40.
No, 7:40.
I'm the-
Yeah, 8:40. My bad.
Right now, if I have a sewer back.